is crafting a compelling brand story and why you should be sharing your story with your customers. So, in this episode, we're talking about why telling those stories can help you connect with customers and even make more sales. So, if you're joining us for the YouTube Live, you can ask any questions you have within the live chat, and we will grab those at the end of the episode. Now, we try to keep it on topic during the episodes. If you have off topic questions, in the description below the YouTube video, we have a form and you can fill out that. And actually, in 2 weeks, we have a Ask Me Anything type episode. So we'll probably be grabbing some questions from that form. So be sure to drop any off topic questions there.
And then if you haven't already, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Like we said last week, we are bouncing between like the number one and number five craft podcast, depending on the day in the US. So this is really exciting, and your ratings and your reviews really help us with that. And then today's episode will also help us with that because we have the lovely Jennifer Maker here today. Jennifer is the founder and CEO of jennifermaker.com, and she is amazing. And I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Oh, thank you. First, I'm so excited that you invited me to do this. Thank you both so much. So my name is Jennifer, and I'm a maker. I love making things. I get great joy from creating things from nothing, essentially, and working with my hands. And I also discovered that I love to teach other people to discover that same joy too. So that's essentially what I do. And I do that through my blog and my YouTube channel and my academy. And it is awesome. And every day I'm grateful that I have this opportunity to do this.
So thank you so much for being here. And I must say, you do a fabulous job at teaching people how to craft with all the craft machines, Cricut machines, lasers, everything. Like you're always an inspiration to us as well.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to dive right into the questions for Jennifer here. And first question, can you tell us a little about how you got started? And did you start out with a clear idea of what you wanted your brand to be?
Okay, so I got started, well, first of all, I got started in 1968 when I was born. But no, okay. It was around 2016, and I was broke, like extremely broke, like not being able to pay the mortgage, broke, worrying about having to move out of our house because I couldn't afford it. We were scrounging for grocery money. My sister one day gave me $20 for groceries, and it was like a huge deal. Like we didn't have any money. So I knew I had to change something, and I had a choice and go get a job in corporate America, or I can try to do something on my own again, because I had a business before that basically just with the times had dwindled down because the world changes. So I like went camping, and I looked really deep inside at what is it that I really, really wanted out of life, and what did I enjoy doing? And I knew the answer that came back was, I love to share all the things I know. This is the thing that I love, the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning. So what did I do? I started a blog. So, but at the time, blogs are really, really cool. They still are, but it was like they were hot. And so I talked about everything, but the thing that like bubbled to the surface that people really resonated with was crafting and DIY projects. And I did that. But I'll be honest, it wasn't making no money in the beginning, because this is how these things work. But I had a dream, and I really, really wanted this to work. In the meantime, I was on Upwork. I was asking all my friends if they needed any work, whatever, so I could pay the bills. But on the other hand, I was working very hard to build a community, to build a brand, to build something that I could create awesomeness from. That was my goal, right? I wanted to like share these things I knew. And so it wasn't a clear path. I didn't say, I want to be Jennifer Maker. That name actually came about in 2017. I was Genuine Mom before that on my blog. So this is something that evolved over time. And here we are today. And it's been almost, 8 years. It's been a crazy ride. I never expected this. I only started out wanting to support my family, being able to pay the mortgage and help my daughter and all those things, all the things that we all struggle to do. And along the way, I found this awesome, magical thing called Jennifer Maker, and it's just so cool, and I just love it. Oh, you had another question. What was the second part? Was it?
It was, Oh, I think you answered it. Did you
Okay.
start out with a clear idea of how you wanted your brand to be? I feel like you covered that, right?
Well, I kind of did. So in my previous business, which was called Passporter, it was all about travel guidebooks, and I had called it Passporter because that sounded so cool. But it was just really me and a couple other people. But everyone thought we were this big company. So when I started again, I chose a personal brand, Jennifer Maker, because I wanted people to relate to me. I'm not a big corporation. I'm never ever going to be. And I want a personal relationship with people. I don't want them to talk about the company. I want them to talk to me. So in that regard, that was really intentional. So
That makes sense. So then how has your brand grown and evolved over the years?
So like I said in the beginning, it was just me. For like the first year and a half, it was just me. And then I wanted to reach more people, and I knew I had to just start video. So I started a YouTube channel, and that's when Greg, my fiance, started helping me. He helped like set up all the camera, all the tech, and kept the dogs out of the room when I had to record a video, all things like that. And forgive me, I have allergies, and I'm not crying, I swear. Sorry. We can edit this part. I'm not crying.
You made her cry already.
My eyes are watering. Our air quality isn't so great here. Okay. So Greg started helping me out, and that was huge help. And then I decided, one of my books became popular, the Cricket Coach Playbook, and I was getting so many emails about it, I couldn't keep up. So then I'm like, okay, I think I need to start getting some help besides just Greg and I hired my first assistant, who became an operations manager, and then we built a team. So over the years, it's just started with me at my kitchen table, moving to my I took over like the family room, which I'm still in to this day. And then now we have a studio, which I'm in currently, and is growing beyond that as well. I have a team of 35 now, if you can believe that. Wonderful, awesome team members who do such an amazing job of supporting our large community, which I'm so grateful for. So it's grown a lot over the years, actually. And it wasn't like an intentional growth. I didn't say, I really want to have this company with 35 employees and, all this stuff. It was never like that. It's more like I'm going along for the ride. I don't know where this is going to end up. I think it's really cool, and I'm game for it, and we're going to keep going and discover it and have fun, hopefully, along the way.
I love your story, and I also love that you mentioned that in the beginning you did not make any money for a while, because I think that's important for people to realize, whether they're starting out selling their handmade crafts. Like, in the beginning, a small business generally doesn't make anything.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think it took me a year before I was really making any money. And I would say at that point, I was able to, it was like, okay, this is worth my time. And I could really I can stop working on Upwork. I can, stop working for my friends, and I can focus on this. And I think that was actually fast. I think for a lot of people, it takes longer than a year. But I'm 55 years old. I had a business before this. So I had the benefit of experience. So that always helps.
Yeah, for me, like, I started in 2010, and it was 2016 before I was able to quit my full-time job. So it was about 6 years before I had that full-time income potential. But like you said, tons of working for other people, picking up work wherever you can, just to make the business, just to have the money to invest back in the business and help it to grow.
Exactly. It's not an overnight thing. Like I'm going to start a business and then suddenly there's money rolling in. That is not a thing that happens ever, as far as I know.
I feel like, 1 in a million goes viral, right? Like, you get 1 in a million people who go from zero to hero.
Right.
And then that becomes like the story that everybody aspires to, but really it's just a lot of hard work and a lot of, am I going to be able to do this? And a lot of, I should probably get a side hustle and to my side hustle, and just trying to make ends meet until you can really get the thing off the ground.
I agree completely.
All right, so let's go to question number 3. So how would you define a brand story, and why do you think it's important for small businesses, especially in the crafting niche, to develop one?
Okay, so I think a brand story is the heart and soul of your company. It is what people see when they look at you. It's the thing that helps you stand out from others. And most importantly, I think it's how they relate to you. And I think that's everything. I really do. Like, it's not just, no name, no brand stuff that's sold everywhere. That's not what this is. We make things with our hands and with our hearts. And we have to put that same passion into communicating this to our customers, our followers, our people, our community. And that's what I've been doing. And I think it's really making a difference for me personally. And so I believe that it can help everybody else too.
I think that's really what sets this type of business apart from you can buy a lot of the same things I make on Amazon, but you don't know who makes them. You don't know how much they were paid. You don't, there's all these things that you just don't know. But when you're, buying from a person and you see their background and you hear their story, it becomes just so much more meaningful. And I think that that's just a really great point of connection that you can't get with something you purchase on Amazon.
I agree. And that means that it's so important for us to pull that story out and be sure that we're sharing it, right? So be sure that you're sharing, developing your story and then sharing it every chance you get. And I think it's a little bit weird sometimes because you're like, well, no one really wants that. They just want the thing. But I don't think that's true. I think they want to connect with us. They want to, and I know that I want to connect with them 100%. So we shouldn't be shy about doing this. We should really embrace it.
Yeah, and it's like digital age, and there's so much coming at you, and a brand story makes you connect with an online shop it's completely online. You've never met that person, but you read their story and about their kids, their family, their dogs, whatever it is, their passions, and all of a sudden you have an instant connection, and it makes you want to support them in any way you can, whether that's purchasing something, sharing it with your friends, even if if they're so moved they share your brand story. That is making more connections outside of who you normally reach.
Absolutely. And I think it's just so important that we do that. And, like you said, it's very crowded, overwhelming world. There's so many choices, but when a person can connect with you, they're more likely to buy from you again, or seek you out, or go right to your store, or go right to your stall, or wherever you're selling or whatever you're doing.
I feel like often for me, I also often remember the brand story rather than the shop. It's like, remember that lady and she talked about her dogs? Like, I'm Googling lady with cute corgis or something.
Totally. I know exactly what you mean.
And I think with AI becoming so big lately, right? It's like the thing. Like being us, being who you are, is going to set you apart from the robots. And I'm not saying there are not good uses for AI. There are good uses for AI. However, one thing it's not going to be able to replicate is a story, a person, a brand. You know what I mean? It's just not going to be able to connect in the same way. You just cannot connect with a robot the same way you can connect with a real human.
You can't. And they're not going to be able to fabricate it in a way that's going to make any sense. Sure, it can come with a story, but it's not like a authentic story that you will see echoed in social media. Like when I talk about my story, wherever it is, my followers, they will ask me questions about the farm when I'm talking about a craft and there's no connection. That's because it's across so many different places, right? And I can't emphasize how much the world is going to change so much with AI, but us being our authentic selves is what is going to make a difference and help us not get lost in that sea of information that is probably about to overwhelm us all. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal.
It's a really big deal. I couldn't agree more. All right. So question number 4, let's build on that. So what do you think are some key elements that make up a compelling brand story?
Well, first, I think your origin. How did your business start? Just like, I talk about mine, we had no money and I created it to support my family. And that's not an uncommon story, but it's going to change. But sometimes it's not that. Sometimes you just wanted to share this awesome discovery, or, maybe you had goats and you just really needed something to do with your goats. There's so many different ways that your story could develop, and really sitting down and thinking about what story your origin story, like you're a superhero, really. What is it that you want people to know about you? What is the important thing to draw out about it? I also think it's really important that your passion be represented. hopefully is something that you love to do, right? I love to do what I do. And that should be represented in your brand story. I often hear people say that they can see my joy for crafting in my videos. And I'm always like, yes, because honestly, I'm a human being. Some days I don't have great days and I'm still recording a video on that not great day. But my story is that I love crafting because I do. And it still works. The story is still there, even on my not so great days. And that means a lot to me, right? Because I'm always talking about how much I love crafting because I do. I actually made notes too. So, because this is important. Okay. Unique selling point. I think determining what your unique selling point is and putting that into your story when you talk about things is important. For example, at Jennifer Maker, we are generous, like extremely generous. We give away tons of files that might normally be sold on Etsy. This is our thing. It is the cornerstone of our business. And I will never, ever, ever, ever give that up. So this is our unique selling point, is that we give away tons of things. And I'm really proud of it. And it really makes a difference to me and to our community that we do that and continue to do that. So have a unique selling point, whatever that might be. It could be very different from anything like that. Your values is another important thing. So determining what your core values are and how they're represented in your brand story is important because it helps you connect to your customers, right? And also it helps you attract the customers that you want, and as well as repel the customers you don't want. And this is more perhaps if you're on Etsy, even then, actually, I've sold some stuff on Etsy that I wish I hadn't sold it to that customer. I'll be honest, right? It just wasn't the right fit for what I was doing. So you want to attract the person that you like as your customer and repel the people you don't. And sharing your core values will do that. It really helps them resonate with you as a person too. Like, what is it? Do they like the same things I like? Do they care?
I think
I
remember we were chatting at one point, Jennifer, and you had mentioned that on Jennifer Maker, you're never going to see like a super snarky, sarcastic
That's right.
craft, right?
Yes,
Because
he wants
Jennifer Maker is filled with joy and kindness and all of these values that you have, and you're not going to see, embroidery with swear words or
Right.
whatever it might be on jennifermaker.com. But that is what you're talking about. It's like you're gathering the people that you want, and somebody else is making really hilarious, snarky crafts that we all may like, on the side, but they're not going to be necessarily a part of our brand.
Yes, absolutely. So the Jennifer Maker brand is wholesome. Yeah. I am wholesome. This is who I am. Sure, I, will laugh at dirty jokes, but that's not, I am actually a really wholesome person. And this is the kind of people I want to surround myself with. So that's a really intentional choice. So if you want snarky crafts, you have to go to somewhere else. And that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with those. Those are really funny. They're just not what I do. So that's me. My wholesomeness also repels people. And I'm okay with that. You don't want to try to be everything to everyone, or you will be nothing at all. So, okay, your customer connection is important. So showing how your products solve problems is huge. So, and I know we're talking about crafts and like, how would that solve a problem? But the truth is they really can make a difference. So for example, someone who really wants to give a heartfelt gift to someone, but is so busy they can't make it themselves, they can buy it from you, and it can solve the problem for both the giver and the receiver feels loved. This is a real problem that can be solved with a handmade craft. Another one is, and these sound like not a big deal, but these can be real problems for people. So you might want to have trendy home decor and you just don't have the ability to make it, or maybe even, some of those things are really expensive. But if you can buy it from someone who can make it for you, then you get it. And the people come to your home are like, wow, they're cool. They're with it. And you solve that person's problem. So that's a really important thing that I am always talking about at Jennifer Maker. Are we really making a difference for people and what they need? And then the last one is having a future vision. So that means sharing the story of where you want to go, right? So I have a story about where I want to go, and I share often with my followers. And I think that's important because you can bring people with you and they can be on the adventure with you. And then you are all winning when it happens. And I think it's important. So those are my 6 tips, I think it was.
I love that you're all winning when you see those things come true. I don't know. I love that so much.
So I just want to tell you, your values inspired Cori and I so much. When we were at Wallapalooza, you did like a presentation on your values, and we actually talked about it in one of the podcast episodes. I don't remember which one it was, and how much it inspired us to like take that into our own businesses. And we talked about like people doing that for themselves, like doing those values and making sure to stick by them. So I just want to like note right there that you inspired us a little bit.
Awesome. I'm really happy I inspired you. And for anyone who's listening, as I recall, probably what you're referring to is how I don't accept sponsorships. Is that what you're referring to?
That was part of it. Yeah, there was a list, right? 10 of them.
Was there? I don't remember that. I remember that one in particular. Is how I won't accept like free stuff, and I always pay for all my things. And it's really important because that establishes trust. When I do, a video or talk about something, everyone knows that is, I believe in this because I was willing to put my own money down. So, but yeah, I probably had some more too. I have a lot of opinions about it.
I feel like that's almost part of your brand story is your trustworthiness, and that leads to your trustworthiness. So that's almost a part of the message you communicate as well.
Yeah, I do. I do talk about that. I wouldn't say I talk about it a lot, but I think that if you were to ask my viewers and my readers, a lot of them probably would know that I won't like accept any money for anything. And I will make people charge me, like this awesome dream box behind me. I love, and they're so awesome. They're always trying to say, would you like our new dream box? And I'm like, I would, because I love the dream box, but you must send me an invoice. So sometimes it's not convenient because I'm like a square peg in a round hole, but it matters a lot to me personally.
Yeah, and that's the main message, right? Standing behind whatever your personal values are, standing behind those as a business as well as a person, and that's like one of the whole things to communicate.
Yes.
I think you're the reason we actually have this podcast now that I think about it, because one of our values is helping other small craft businesses grow, helping, basically pulling people up with us as our tide rises. Yeah. And that because we articulated that we have our own separate list of values, but that is on both of our lists of values. And that sort of led to us starting this podcast. So I think it's really important for all of us to kind of articulate like what is important to us. And then that way, if you're having like a crisis of conscience, or you don't know what the next step is in your business, or if you don't know, whatever it is, you can look back at that list of values and say, okay, which best aligns with what I'm trying to do here.
I so agree. So at Jennifer Maker, we have 7 core values. We talk about them all the time, and we make all of our decisions based on those values. We have like a little sheet. All of us have it. We update it every quarter, and our core values are right here. So whenever we're not sure about something, we don't know which way to go, we just go back to those, and it helps every time. It's like a little guidebook for ourselves, and you can do that, and it's so helpful. It really is.
Yeah. Even if your business is teeny tiny.
That's right.
Having those values from the beginning so that you have a North Star that you are always following is so much better than getting caught up and being like, I guess I just have to do TikTok dances now. Well, if that's not part of your core values and it's not getting you where you want to be in your business, what is the point?
Right. I actually established my core values before I ever had a team. So I know that sometimes people who know I have a big team, they might think I'm some big company, but really this is my passion, and I now have people along with me for the ride. So I highly recommend sitting down and listing out your values so you really know what they are.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like your brand story, your values, all of these things, develop them when you start. And as you grow, your team can use those to make sure that they align with you. Like you can almost use them throughout the entire journey.
Absolutely.
All right, so we have our little commercial break. We're about halfway through our questions for Jennifer. And this one is a brand story workbook from Angie. So Angie, you want to tell us about your workbook?
Sure. So I made this workbook a couple years ago, I guess. And then I thought it fits perfectly within this episode. So we're going to talk about it. So it's a workbook to help you develop a brand story. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I do not know where to start, that's what this workbook does. It helps you brainstorm all of those things that were on Jennifer's list in the workbook. Helps you brainstorm all of those things for your own brand, for your own business, and write them down and then condense it. Because a brand story, all those things Jennifer talked about, a brand story could be 30 minutes long. And that's not going to fit on your website. And maybe no one would read that. So hopefully helps you condense it down into something that is for a website, and then condense it down even further, almost like a little pitch. Like if you had 60 seconds to pitch someone, beginning of your video, end of your video, helps you condense it down to that as well.
So I bought it this morning so I could look at it, and it's awesome. Everybody, you should totally get it. It was a great price too. Angie was so awesome, and she refunded me, and I told her she didn't have to do that because it was really cool. So I highly recommend that workbook if you're trying to like work through what it is, because saying that you need a brand story seems a little bit vague, and this is like directed and will guide you to create one. So
yeah, I was like, Jennifer, you bought it. I want to send it to you for free.
You know how it works. How it works.
All right, so I did reduce it to $4.97 just for the podcast. So it's $4.97, and it's link.craftingcamps.com/brand, and that's link.craftingcamps.com/brand. And if you are on YouTube, I did put a QR code up in the corner. If you scan that, it adds the coupon code and everything for you. So it's very easy. And if you want a workbook to work through all the things we're going to talk about this hour, I would recommend that.
I have a little side hustle I'm working on, so I'm gonna use it because I think that side hustle, it's inspiring me. It needs a little brand story to go along with it.
And that's like totally a teaser for some future crafting.
For some future crafting for profit stuff. That was my little teaser that you guys are gonna get to learn about my side hustle at some point.
So stay tuned, future episodes. All right, let's get back to the questions. Jennifer, what strategies have you used to build a loyal community around your brand? Because we all know you have a loyal community. So what are some strategies for us?
All right, so there are 3 things that I have chosen to do that I feel have made a difference. One I mentioned already is that we're generous. 2, we are comprehensive. And 3, we are community driven. So you could consider these like core or like values, but I think of them more like my uniques, right? These are the things that I have pulled out from these years of working that I think make a difference and have pushed me forward. So being generous, we give away lots of stuff. And by doing that, I get to meet a lot of people, and they join our communities, and I learn about them and they learn about me. And so when I do have something that isn't free, they know who I am. They trust me, hopefully by then, like we're all good. And then if the product is right for them, it's easier to say yes if it's right for them. So I find that helps tremendously for what I do. The second one I said was, I made a note here, what was it? Comprehensive, of course, yes. So what I do is I've heard our tutorials called meticulous. So I really, really try to cover everything from the very beginning, if you're just brand new to something, to the end, right? And not skip over steps or assume you know something or anything like that. And I'm notorious on my team for being like, oh, no, we have to explain that. And then we have to go back and we have to do that. And it's really important to me. And I think that our community has come to know that about us. So we keep doing that. When we find something that people respond to, we continue. And that's an important lesson for everyone. When you make something and people love it, you know what you do? You make a whole lot more of it. That is literally what you do. And then our third thing that I have found that makes a difference is being community driven. And I recommend this for really almost every business, because when you are community driven, that means you're listening to what your customers want, what they are seeking, what problems they have, and what solutions you can offer them. You will never run out of ideas as a result. You will always be there for them to give them what they want and help them level up, whatever that is, whether it's like something cute to put on their wall, or if it's something, that card that's going to be given to someone and make a difference in their life. So those are my 3 particular ones. You're welcome to use them if they want. They work. They totally work. So those are mine. Those are my strategies.
I feel like for me, the community piece is one that I came to the game late. And I wish I had started it earlier. I still don't think I'm super good at it. I think part of it is that, I mean, I know you're the same, Jennifer. I am like an extreme introvert, right?
Yep.
And sometimes when I'm not working, I want to be off. And so I need to, I think, figure out how for me to better integrate community into what we're doing.
Well, I find that for me, I work best with asynchronous communication. So right now, that's a big old fancy word, but right now, this is synchronous. We're having a conversation. It's a live video, and this is awesome. But it's also, because I'm an introvert, it's also really draining. I can only do a little bit of this. But if I do asynchronous communication with my community, that's things like Facebook, where, I'm in the bathtub looking at a thread. Oh, I get to comment on someone's craft. Like, it's hours later. But I do that like pretty much every night. And that allows me to be in touch with my community and interact in a way that feels good. And it's so we're talking to each other, but it's on the terms that work for me, because I am a huge introvert.
You've got 3 introverts on a podcast here, everyone.
3 introverts that do YouTube videos. Who would have known?
Not me.
I think a lot of crafters are. I don't know, but I hear this often, right? So I think they go together.
I agree.
Yeah, I feel like because of that, when someone starts a craft business, the community part is very hard for them, because it's hard for them to put themselves out there.
It is.
It was hard at the beginning for me. It's hard to put yourself out there. It's hard to open yourself up almost to that community.
It's really difficult. I had to really, for example, when I started doing Jennifer Maker, I said, I'm not going to do any videos. No videos. That's just way beyond what I want. And when I realized that's what the community wanted, that's being community driven, I had to find the courage to create videos. And I did that by gaming my system and I told everybody I'd do like a video a day for 25 days. So of course I had to do it. I did it. I survived. And now I have a channel. So I listened and I got pushed past my fear and got out of my comfort zone, which is so important when it comes to something like this. So important.
And I think we're not saying that everybody needs a giant teaching YouTube channel. Like
No,
if you're making tumblers, maybe it is just showing your process on social media or whatever it is. You can take it one step at a time. It's almost 2 years now that I really did a push for YouTube. And it was only because I got locked inside my craft room for 2 weeks. Basically, my family had COVID and my husband was like, you're not coming back in this house until we're better. And so he dragged our mattress out to my studio. And I'm like, I'm out here for however long it takes for them to feel better. I'm going to figure it out. And I cried and I swore and I made some really bad videos that you can watch on my YouTube channel. I've come very far. But I think at some point you just get to this like breaking point in your business where whatever your audience is desiring, whether it's video, whether it's something completely different, you get to that breaking point and you're just like, and you've been fighting it for so long that you just go, fine, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah, and figuring it out is important, and figuring out in terms that work for you, because I think almost all of these things are possible if you figure out what your boundaries are and then create it to work with that, right? So almost everything is possible, even if you're a shy introvert like we are. It's possible.
Well, we're talking about brand stories. Sharing your brand story can be a scary experience in the beginning. You're just starting out. You're an introvert. You're making crafts in your home. And you're like, I have to tell people why I'm making this. That's very scary to people. So just know that we understand it is very scary, but putting yourself out there is going to make you stand apart from all those other Etsy shops that are making probably very similar things to you.
Yeah. I think Angie and I too, 2 weeks ago, the episode on running a small business with a chronic illness, that is now sort of part of both of our brand story. The fact that we both have things that get in the way of all the crafting we want to do. And I was telling Jennifer before we hopped on here that I have the worst brain fog this week. I'm almost afraid to go back and listen to this episode and hear the words coming out of my mouth for fear that going to be a bunch of garbage.
No. You're doing awesome. This is a wonderful podcast.
Okay. But I have been like, I forgot so many things this week. I mean, the number of times Angie was like, you said you were going to do that. And I was like, I did. But like the fibro brain fog this week has just been way worse than normal. And so I'm having to work around that. But now it's becoming part of my brand story that I am a crafter and I own a small business while also having a chronic condition. And that connects with so many people in a way that it would be if you thought I was just perfectly 100% healthy over here running, it's like, oh, well, good for her. And now it's like, oh, wow, I have a similar thing. Maybe I can work around it as well.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. It's also important to note that it's okay to leave things out of your brand story, even if they're a big deal to you.
Yeah.
I have several things that I don't really talk about, and because I'm a pretty personal person, as it turns out, and I like my privacy, and I don't have to, for example, tell the world that I feel really exhausted right now. I'm telling you guys this, but like I don't normally share like my health, right? So that's not something that's part of my brand story, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to share the things that don't feel right to you. And you can share the things that do, that you want to help connect you to others.
Yeah, even as long as I've been doing this, I've not really talked about it. And doing that episode for Cori and I was extremely scary. And we've been doing it a long time. We've been sharing ourselves online a very long time. And just like before that episode, we were both so nervous just to put that out there. So even 10 years, 15 years, however long you've been doing this, things can still be very scary to put out there.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, some things get easier and some things don't. Like, do I really want to, did I want to talk about my health? Not particularly. However, I got to the point where I was like, I think we can help people with this. I think we can show that there are so many struggles that people have. And even if they aren't exactly the same struggles we have, there are ways to work around them. There's strategies to, be able to get things done. We want to encourage people to rest when they need to rest, all of these things that it felt like it finally became worth it to delve into that part of the story.
Yeah, I think that's really, really cool.
All right. So number 6, are there any common mistakes you see small businesses make when it comes to branding and telling their brand story? And then maybe how can they avoid them?
Okay, that's a really good question. One of the big things that has stood out to me and that I see small businesses, especially when they're starting, I see a lot of focus and energy put into creating a logo. And I love logos. I'm a graphic designer by nature. But the thing is, your logo is not the thing that's going to sell and make a difference. It really isn't. I don't really even have a logo, and clearly it hasn't made a difference for me. So I don't want to, I think I see a lot of people put so much effort into that and then expect that it's going to open a door, and it isn't. So it's totally fine to have a logo, but really I'd like to see that effort and passion being put into other parts of creating out your business, right? So that's one thing. I think also there was something else too when I was thinking about this. I think that I'm seeing people not think about what other people need, and they're more focused on what they create. So like I love all things nerdy. Most people have no idea about this because my crafts are not like that. My crafts are created for my community, not for me. I make things for me that are different, right? So if your community loves nerdy things, then that's perfect, right? That's totally perfect. But you need to figure out what the people in your community want and create things for them, in my opinion. I think that's always been my philosophy about this when it comes to business. When you're making something for yourself, that's different. You get to make whatever you want and let your freak flag fly then.
I love that because I feel like the community has driven at least my content over the years. For a long time, I was making a lot of crafts, which I still do. But now I find myself, people are like, hey, can you review this machine? Can you tell me how to do this particular task on this machine? Can you show me how to use this material? And these things are driving my content a lot more than let's make this together. I mean, I would love to probably craft a little bit more. And that is another reason for the super secret side project that we'll talk about later. But I feel like like the audience is like, hey, I really need a review of this. And I haven't seen anybody in especially in our sort of female space. So for example, if maybe I get a new laser, there's probably 10 videos that men have made about this laser, these kind of tech bros, right? And they're probably really good videos, but maybe you want somebody like me or Angie or Jennifer to tell you about it. Like we're going to tell you, is the machine too heavy to lift by yourself? Things that, we're going to do it in a funny, fun way that is more feminine, that is more like just connects with a female audience a little bit better. Not that we don't have male listeners or male people buying our crafts or whatever, but it is a very female centric space. And I think that, being on the tech side of that being on the female side of the tech space is kind of an interesting place to be.
It is, absolutely. And that's you being community driven, which is so important for success. So really looking at what people want and less about what you want, I think is important when you're thinking about starting a business or improving the business you have.
Yeah, we talked a lot this last episode 9, the marketing tips episode. We talked a lot about finding your ideal customer. And I think that goes into that. So each of us, I'm sure Jennifer has an ideal customer that she has in her head every time, but each of us develops that ideal customer. It's a way to find products that they like, talk to them within your product descriptions, and within this brand story, you need to talk to that ideal customer as you develop your brand story, and kind of work it to where it's speaking to that ideal customer and that person you want to attract.
Whenever I write anything, I am writing to a person. Her name is Jessica. She lives in Texas. But I write to a person, not to everybody, because that's very overwhelming and impersonal. So that's a big deal. Absolutely.
I'm writing to Carol in Florida. So,
Florida. Do you have a name for your avatar, Angie?
I do. I often use Carol because Cori and I talk so much. I have just started using Carol as we talk.
I think you two have told me about that, Carol. Yes,
yeah,
I remember now.
Originally, really, as I was thinking about it, it was almost my mom. So she was in the age range that I wanted to speak to, and she was about at. I looked at for what we do, how tech savvy my person was, and it was my mom kind of fit all the bills. Yeah. So starting out, I talked to my mom basically.
That's really good advice to do. Picking a person like that you can relate to in the beginning.
Yeah, and that way you can totally ask them questions.
Yeah,
if you pick someone that's close like that.
That's right.
All right, next question. How do you balance authenticity with the need to market your products effectively? And how do you balance authenticity with privacy?
That's a big question because I am actually very private, but sometimes you wouldn't know it, right? So I have been, I've been a small business owner since 1992, and I've been online in some capacity or another, basically since the same time. So I've had lots of time to figure this out. So the way that I have done it, because I always want to be authentic, but I am really an oversharer. Angie and Cori know, if you meet me in person, I will tell you my life story. So we have to have boundaries. Everybody does. You guys don't want to hear my entire life story anyway. So what I have done is I've sat down with myself and I've determined what I can share and where I can share it. And I have my internal rules, and I've basically created healthy boundaries for myself so that I am always comfortable sharing and not waking up in the middle of the night worrying about my family's privacy, because I don't believe in talking about my family without their permission or sharing anything that's their story. I share my story. So this is a big deal to me. Yep. So you're not going to see all the things about me for that reason, because I talk about me. And unless they give me permission or whatever, that's different. And there's no pressure ever for that. And so, and then I have rules for myself so that I can share the things that I want to share without thinking I'm going to cross a line. And then I've also determined the location. So I like to share my personal story, but I don't think everybody wants to hear about it. So what I've chosen to do is I share it in places where I feel safe. So that might be Instagram stories, because it's only there for 24 hours. So, unless you took a screenshot, big deal, it's gone, right? So I feel more comfortable to share a personal thing there. And then I also have communities within communities. And so a smaller community, perhaps my most loyal fans, I will share more with them. So, for example, I have a new Facebook group that's a private group it goes with the program. There's fewer people in it, and these are people that are really interested in me, and I share more about my life there because it feels to me like a safer place. So this is how I have managed to do it and still get to be myself and still get to share, but not overshare and have nightmares or whatever.
I think that's so important, especially when you're talking about your kids. Like, I regret how that I put my boys in my blog in the early days. And I wish I had used pseudonyms. And obviously now I will only post with their permission, and they almost never, although now I did a YouTube at the end of the year, or video at the end of the last year, where I talked a little bit about my birth story with them because it was a little chaotic. And they came on the YouTube video at the end, and they were like, "We want to, Mom." And I was like, "All right."
That's
And you know
awesome.
what I did? I started them a trust fund. I don't even know what the right word is. I started them an account, and anytime they do any work for me, I pay them now, because I don't ever want them. The last thing I want is for my kids to ever think I was taking advantage of just how cute they are, because they are seriously cute.
Adorable. You have the
They're so
kids.
cute, right? But I don't ever want them to grow up and be like, "Oh, my mom just wanted me for content." I don't ever want them to feel that way. So I think if you have kids and you're thinking about using your kids, like maybe you make kids clothing, or maybe you make toys, or whatever it is, really think about the boundaries that you want to have around what you share about your family. If you are using other people's kids, get model releases, those sorts of things, because the last thing you want to do is just profit off your kid without their consent. And I think that's just something really important to kind of keep in mind as you're telling your brand story, even if your brand story does involve your family.
I agree. And your kids grow up. So my daughter is almost 20. And so I also talked about my daughter in the early days of my blog. And I also regret that, but also, she was a kid and I was a mom, it just made sense. But now I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have done that, right? Maybe that's not what she wants. And that's important to remember. There's not just your boundaries and your privacy, but others as well. So but it is still important, I think, to share and connect. So you find what you do feel comfortable sharing and connecting, and where you want to do it, and then you do it there. And then you just have fun with that.
And then you keep your boundaries, right?
Yep.
You just again, with your vision and your values and all these other things, write them down so that you're constantly reminded, oh, I never said I would use my kid's real name online. We're using a pseudonym or whatever it is, just so that you remember your boundaries.
Yeah.
Really the part with the kids was the hardest thing, and just take it. All three of us probably regret it. But I'll just a little levity to the situation. Once my kids got old enough, they charged me a modeling fee. So
awesome. Perfect. Good for them.
Right? I'm going to pay that.
Yeah, I was like, sold.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
All right. So I don't know if I've seen a ton of questions, but you guys, if you have any questions for Jennifer or me or Angie, go ahead and leave those in the comments now. If you're live here on the YouTube video, we'll answer those in a few minutes. But we are going to get to our last question here. We just wanted to give you a reminder that we will be answering questions. So if you have any, go ahead and leave them. All right. So question number 8, this is our final question. So how do you stay innovative and keeping sort of your brand story fresh and relevant? Because I feel like I can tell people over and over again that I have fibromyalgia, and after a while that might get a little stale. So how do you kind of keep it fresh and relevant? And then where do you see it kind of going in the next few years?
Okay, that's a really good question. So again, I let the community drive me and what I do. So I don't really have to worry that much about being fresh and innovative when my community and the broader community at large is always saying, hey, we need help with this. So by staying on top of what's going on in the world and watching what my community is making or struggling with, I am always I have so many ideas, I literally cannot keep up with them. So just by attempting to solve the problems for the people that I see, it's always fresh. And also the same thing, also always innovating, because maybe that solution I came up with a few years ago isn't working anymore. And I can see them struggling and they're stuck or whatever. And so I can be like, well, how could I help this? What could I do more that would make a difference for them? And so, sometimes it's not like the ideas just instantly pop into my head. That does take time. But then by letting them lead me, I arrive at the right answer. And it's really awesome. It's almost like magic. By listening to what people are saying they need, that's like really where it all is, as far as I'm concerned. So that's how I am doing it. And then as far as you asked about what the future holds, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so this is this exciting and fun part. So I want, as I mentioned earlier, Jennifer Maker is this really cool, magical thing. And I feel like we're on an adventure with it. We don't know where it's going to end up, but we're here for it. And we're going to enjoy it for as long as it lasts. So we want to reach more people, because I love making more things. It's not just Cricut crafts, and not just laser crafts, and not just sublimation crafts, but really lots and lots of things. So we've decided that we need more space to do that, because right now we have the studio and we have our house, but the camera looks down at our surface or at us, and that's kind of it. There's not a lot of space. So we bought almost 100 acres in the town right next to us, and we are building an amazingly awesome studio on it. It's almost 10,000 square feet, and it's surrounded by farmland, and we're going to have the opportunity to make so many more things. So not just crafts, but also bigger DIY projects like, that shed in the backyard, or gardening, or homesteading. And I'm really excited about that, because that also keeps things fresh and innovative for us. We could literally never run out of ideas with something like that. And of course, we're going to keep crafting and making things like that, because we love those things. But it's really fun to grow too. And that is the thing, the thread that goes through everything I do, the brand story of everything, is that I think that you can go from nothing to something magical with hard work and heart. And everything about my business, about our farm, about our videos, about our tutorials is that everything is possible if you try hard, you're patient, and you put your heart and soul into it. And I'm really excited, because I don't know where that will lead. We were just there this morning looking at the progress. There's like, the framers are there, and the people putting on the bricks are there, and there's all this activity, and we're standing there, just Greg and I, looking at it, and it's just like a marvel. It's so big and so amazing, and we are always like pinching ourselves that this is possible, that this is something that we can do. It's amazing, and we don't know exactly where it will lead or what door it will open or anything. It's a little bit scary. It's actually a lot scary, but if we're like living in our comfort zone all the time, we're never going to be able to discover these new things that we could do. So it's really cool, and I'm really grateful.
I feel like there's a balance that you're kind of in the right place when you're like walking that line between absolutely fun and absolutely terrifying.
Yes, that's right. I agree completely. If you are not a little bit scared, you are not doing the right thing, or not doing enough of the thing that you should do. Always just a little bit. It's a little bit out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. And that's hard as an introvert, right? There's like, as somebody who likes safety, it's like maybe it's just a tiny toe out of that bubble, but just start somewhere to get to that next level. Because if you just stay in your comfort zone, guess what? You're going to stay in your comfort zone.
I have this. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so I feel like I'm excited for your studio just because of how excited you were when you described it. Like,
yes.
it was like all over your face, the excitement, and your voice conveyed all the excitement that you had about it. So yeah, like I'm excited just because you are, and that alone says everything about like a brand story. Like you just wrapped it up.
It's part of the brand story. We're bringing people along, we're sharing photos and videos, and it's truly authentically awesome. That's how I feel about it. And as far as I know, that it's difficult to do these scary things and get out of your comfort zone, starting a business, or doing those extra things that are tough. But what I have discovered is that all of the good stuff is on the other side of fear. So we have to push past that fear to get to the reward. So whenever you feel that resistance, like, oh, like that's just a little bit too much, it is really, I see it as a sign that that's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing to get there. And I am rewarded when I push through it. So that's my advice to everyone who's listening, because we all have things like this. We have dreams and goals that we really, really want, and things holding us back. And often when you get down to it, it's fear that's holding you back. And if you can push through it, you will be rewarded beyond you're imagining.
I think that's so, so true, because I mean, both Angie and I quit full-time jobs, right? Terrifying. It's just scary. And then, but you're just like, when you have to do it, you have to do it. And then you just get so much more oomph. I don't know the right word, but like just motivation to make it work when something's on the line.
That's right. Yeah. If it's just, oh, this would be nice, but there's not like a compelling reason. Like for me, I had to support my family, or it could be disaster. Like I am very family oriented, very home oriented. So this was like my life. This was literally it. And so it was either, put up or shut up. I had to do this. So it was a huge motivator for me. And so finding that why, that thing that pushes you to do those difficult things is important. It could be a person, it could be yourself, it could be so many things, but it has to be really compelling to like get you, off of that inaction hamster wheel that we find ourselves on and really doing something.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to start pulling some questions from the comment section. And before I start doing that, this on the YouTube Live, the comment section is moving fast. Please be patient with us, please. Okay, so Jennifer, can you tell us a little bit about your advanced program? And I'm going to drop a QR code for that, as well as a link.
Yes. So this is the innovative part that we just talked about. So we just started a new program called Advance with Jennifer Baker. That's me. And what this is it's like an ongoing program where we get to like deep dive into these projects that we create and really teach people how to personalize them and make them unique. So they're not like just a cookie cutter project, but like a really cool thing, how to design things, change things, and all this awesome stuff. And really get into it so that for example, if you're selling your crafts, you can sell something that is not like what everybody else does, but it's different. And this is the big deal. And it's got a whole bunch of other really awesome things in it. It's got the small business license in it. It's got cheat sheets so that, we have like 35 cheat sheets. We make one for every workshop. So we have all these workshops and we have this beautiful library. Oh my gosh, it is so cool. I love our advanced program. And this was born out of innovating and looking at what people needed, what they were telling me they struggled with. And I would see a lot of, I really, really love this project, but I want to like do this, but I don't know how to. Right. And my tutorial had taught them a lot, but not that part. Right. I mean, no one really wants to be there with me for 2 hours while we go into like how to slice and, change everything. Right. Plus, it's unique for everybody. So I've created basically templates, and then we take these templates and we turn them into unique things. And that's what the advanced program is. And it's so awesome. I can't believe it, but 8,000 people joined us. So I am so grateful for everyone who joined us in this program. And the cool thing is that we get to keep doing it. So workshops all the time, like every week, like all these cool things. And I'm really excited for our future. And one more thing this is because we're talking, this is kind of meta, right? We're talking about crafting for profit. And we're talking about advance. And I'm just going to tell you guys everything. So the thing is that because I am a shy, introverted person, doing live videos is not easy for me, right? Like it's not easy. It isn't. So when I created the advanced program, I created it so it adhered to my boundaries of not doing a live video all the time, because it's just not the thing that makes me happy. And that's the truth. And understanding that about yourself is important. I do love doing live videos when I do them, but the idea of having to do them every week was tough for me. So my program doesn't have live videos. Instead, we pre-record them, and it's got all these cool features. You can everything. It's more like Netflix for crafters. And that works for me, and it works for everybody. So That's advanced.
Sounds amazing.
There's probably a ton more stuff. I am like the worst salesperson when it comes to my stuff. So sorry, everybody. But it's a really cool program. If you are interested in it, you can go to jennifermaker.com. Oh, wait, no. There's a QR code on the screen, right?
There is. So
That's
if you're
right.
on YouTube, you can scan the QR code, or you can go to link.craftingcamps.com/maker, and that will take you right there, learn more about it. And when I saw that you crashed your site the day you opened it, I was like, she has hit the mark with her community.
I couldn't believe it. I told our developers, like, there's a lot of people here. They're gonna want this. Like, that sounds like super egotistical, but I know I'm listening to everybody, and yeah, it like crashed, but we got back up. Everything's good now. We have lots of bandwidth now because I don't think that they understood the passion of crafty ladies. I just don't think they got it. I think they're like, oh, she's just talking about crafts. No big deal. No.
We tried to break. We tried
to
break Teachable when we launched Sublimation Camp the first time. We completely broke Teachable because they just had no idea that this many people would want what we were offering.
Right? Yeah. What we do is a big deal, guys. You guys are doing such a good job. It is so cool that you have this podcast, your channels, your books. You both, Cori, you have a new book out about sublimation crafting, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, it's so pretty. I saw it. Oh, is it there? Okay.
It's up here on my shelf.
Good for you. That's important. And Angie, you have like the best videos. Like, I'm sorry, Cori, you have awesome books, but Angie's videos are. I'm sorry,
videos are better.
Your videos are awesome. We are. I love what we do because we're able to, like, from our homes, we're able to help people across the world, and it's such an awesome thing. So
yeah,
that's
and
great.
Like we always talk about, Cori and I and you, we're all competitors, but we can come together, we can boost each other up, we can promote each other, and we can all be friends.
Totally. You guys are my friends. I talk to you all the time. I don't know if anyone knows that, but we have like a Facebook chat and we're always talking to each other. So
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important. I think, like, you don't have to, you can work together and cooperate, and a rising tide lifts all boats. It really does.
This is one of the things 100%. We talk about a lot here because I feel like you can just look at everybody as a competitor, or you can figure out how you can work together and be even better. Even if you're just getting together with somebody who you make, has a different craft booth than you do. You get together and craft. It's a different level of community, right? You have the community with your audience, and then you have the community with the people around you, and they're both important.
I agree completely.
Okay, do we want to pull a few questions?
Sure.
We had several questions kind of around this. So this one is it really realistic to start a crafting business while still working another job? There was another one about, like, when did you decide to take the leap? So a lot of things around, like, starting and, like, basically being nervous to start. So.
Oh, Jennifer, you're muted all of a sudden.
Cori, you want to answer?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You good? Okay, I'll go ahead and answer.
She needs to replace her battery. So Cori and I will answer for a minute.
Okay. Yes, I think it is realistic. And yes, I think it is obviously much harder. You have to find your margins. And it's a balance between being able to find the time to work on your business and not burning yourself out. And this is something we talk about a lot because Angie and I are both prone to burnout, especially having chronic pain problems. But you have to figure out what is the most essential. So one of my favorite business books is called Essentialism. Is that what it's called? That's what it's called, right?
I think so.
All of a sudden my brain is like, is that correct? Essentialism. It's by Greg McKeown, I think is his name. And he just basically takes you down from, like, you have all of these ideas and all these things you need to get done. And he helps you work on what is the essential thing you need to get done. And I think that book might be really good for somebody who's starting to try and start a business during, like, while they have another business or while they have a full-time job. Because if you can just get down to those essentials, making sure you're hitting all the right points when you're starting to build your business, I think that's way easier than sort of spinning your wheels thinking you have to do everything and trying to be on social media and trying to do this and that. And, like, it's so overwhelming. But if you can get it down to just those essentials, do those in the margins when you have the space, I think it's possible.
Yeah, no, I started when I had another job, and for me it was almost I don't know if I would call it boundaries, but it was carving out a time when I could work on my business. So I had, my work life, my side hustle time, and my family time. But making sure that you carve time, I was horrible at this, but making sure you carve time into each of those buckets, or each bucket that's important to you, because it's very easy when you're working a side hustle and want to make it full time to lose sight of things like family time, or things that bring you passion, things that bring you joy, those extracurricular activities. It's very easy to lose sight of those. So that's the only thing I would say, is just to make sure that you're kind of keeping all of those things in mind.
All right. I think I'm hearing Jennifer's mic, but I think she's still
Yes,
getting it.
she is coming back. All right. I think I'm going to go to the next one. I think that answered that one pretty good. So no blogger website. How do I keep my audience engaged on Facebook without coming across as if I'm posting for just the sake of posting something? And I thought this is a very good question.
I still feel that way. I think that's one of the hard things about me with things like social media for me. I have yet to find that magic sauce of like not feeling like I'm posting just for the sake of posting. Sometimes I'm like super excited to share something and I can really feel like this is awesome. But then there's sometimes where I'm just like, gotta put something else up today. And it's just like, it's not one of those things in the business that brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah, I also, could everybody hear me okay now?
Yep, we got it now.
Yes, I also feel this way. I think it's very normal. I think this is part of doing business. And I think it's really important that we stay in their view, whatever it is, whatever that might be. If you're at it doesn't matter. It's really important to be visible. And so this is maybe one of the not as fun things that you can do, but you can also get creative. Like, for example, Angie and Cori having this podcast that they get to do every week is a really awesome way to be visible and also relevant and have fun. We get to talk, and it's real. So you can get creative and find other ways. You can have series or themes, challenges that might help you be more excited about it. But in the end, it's one of those things I think that you have to do if you want to, but you can get creative.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the creativity. I feel like that does help. It's not just like, I made this, here's a new sale, here's this. It's like polls, and it's, if this Tumblr had a name, what would it be? Like give people the reason to answer, make things funny or fun.
Yes. So that's what I do. So I don't really like just saying, hey, here's the thing I made, go get it, go find it, or whatever it is, right? Instead, I like to engage with people because I love it when they answer me, right? I love the conversation. So I ask a question instead of just saying, hey, here's this cool card. Instead, I'm like, I made a new card. What do you think of it? Do you like this color? Because I'm genuinely curious, and then we get to have a conversation and it feels good, and I still am visible, right?
Yeah. And maybe posting the process instead of, if you're just like, excuse me. So if you're just like posting the final product every time, maybe post some of the process. Like, what are you doing right now? What is part of your process that, show your Cricut machine cutting or something like that in a Facebook post. I think people want to see behind the scenes more than the front of the business type of stuff.
Yeah. So do you guys know Bridgerton?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I have been watching Bridgerton's social media, and I mean, they have, the pretty shots of the show, but what I'm actually seeing is tons of behind the scenes content from the actors on the show that I never would have thought I would care about, but I do, as it turns out, care about, and I'm totally eating it all up. And they have so much of it that's not just stills from the show, but like the party that they went to, or this thing they did.
I mean, I'm obsessed with the little clapping game that they're all playing. I'm like, oh, look, here I am watching Bridgerton actors play the clapping game again.
Yeah, it's really fun, and it's teaching me a lesson that this is okay. It's not weird. It's actually really neat. So I like it.
And if it kind of goes with your brand, and I don't know if this may go with your brand, Jennifer, or not, but like craft fails, people love craft fails on my channel. They love to see when people fail.
They do,
and so for me, I don't necessarily put those. I mean, I will put them sometimes in my YouTube videos to show like, here's where I went wrong. Here's a fix. But a lot of times I'll just be like, oh, I tried to make this and womp womp. It did not work, like over on social media. And those always do the best for me, because we all want to know that we're not perfect, right?
That's right.
We want to know that the people that we watch on YouTube or whatever, like, it's nice knowing the Bridgerton people are real humans behind the show.
Totally,
And I think that
right?
that's all part of the brand story.
It is. Absolutely.
All right. And next, if you're just starting out and you have limited ideas for what your community wants, what do you do?
So you ask them. That's what I did in the beginning. So I started and I didn't know what people wanted. My very first product for me, since I like to sell digital products. So my very first product was a course called Cut Above. And it is about how to design SVGs, which I didn't think anybody cared about. I thought that was super, super niche and the only, maybe, I don't know, 5 people. So I never even considered that as a product. What I did, I thought a whole bunch of other things. So, but instead of like relying on what I thought they might like, I asked them what they wanted. So, in my case, I sent out an email to my small little mailing list and I said, and there was like a poll in there and I said, what do you guys want? And they told me they wanted this and I created this for them. Now, if you don't have a community, right, you don't have a mailing list, nothing, you can go out into the communities and pay attention to what people are making, what they're doing, what they're struggling with, what they wish they could just buy instead of make, for example. There are so many communities, and I'm not saying that you go in there and you ask the question because not all communities will be okay with that, but instead you pay attention. One of the things I do when I'm trying to come up with an idea for like a craft, and I'm like, what do people really want? What do they want to do? Is I will go through my own community and with a piece of paper, and I will make a list of all the crafts that everyone is making, and I'll put little tick marks every time I see a struggle or a desire expressed or something. And then at the end of the session, I look at my sheet of paper and I'm like, oh, people really, really, really want cards. I didn't see that one coming. So like seriously, that's how we do it. It's very old fashioned actually, but it works really well.
I think even just like if you have Facebook friends, hey, crafty friends, I have these 3 tumblers, which is your favorite?
Yeah.
Something like that, like just to see what might, or maybe we have a neighborhood entrepreneur group, right? And you can ask questions like that in that group, like, hey, for the upcoming craft fair, I'm thinking about adding this to my product lineup. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you have feedback? Be open to that constructive criticism because, people can be kind of keyboard warriors behind the scenes. So if somebody's a little snappy, just be like, okay,
it's okay. It's okay.
fine.
Yeah.
But
it's valuable feedback.
Yes, it's feedback. And if it's not valuable feedback, then you toss it.
That's true. Yep.
If you have that ideal customer in mind, find that person in your life. Like I said, when I started out, I felt like my mom was similar to my ideal customer, and you can interview them. Like,
right.
what are you looking for? What would you like to buy from a craft booth? Like different things like that. So I feel like if you're just starting out, like have 0 to start with, that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this is a good one. For each of you, what is your favorite part of having your business and what keeps you excited and inspired to keep on keeping on? Jennifer, you want to start?
Okay. Yes, I will start. My absolute favorite thing about what I do is getting to witness people actually make something that I taught them how to make, and then they take a picture of it and they share it. It is the thing that keeps me going. It's the thing that I look for every night. I have like a ritual at the end of the night. I go now look for photos in my Facebook groups. And it is like my reward at the end of the day because it brings me so much happiness to think that, this thing that I did can be translated to the other side of the country or the other side of the world. And sometimes within hours, I'm always astounded by this. And so it makes me feel like I'm making a difference in someone's life. And that is a big deal. We all want to feel fulfilled and think that we matter. And this is the thing that makes me feel like it's all worth it.
Yeah, mine's really similar. I love when I can get somebody past a roadblock. Like it is absolutely my favorite thing when somebody finds a video of mine and they're like, oh my gosh, I have Googled this for months and I could not figure it out. And your video finally helped me do whatever I have a video on ICC profiles for sublimation printers, and it is the most dry video I think I've ever made, but people have a huge struggle with this particular problem. So I get a lot of comments like, oh my gosh, you finally helped me figure this out. And for me, that's one of the things. And then the other thing that I just really like to make stuff. Like, I just love to craft. I love to see what all of these crafting machines can do. I love to test things out. I love to try new things. I love to unbox stuff and get it working and figure it all out and figure out what I love. And I don't know, it just like brings me a lot of joy to actually get my hands dirty with all this stuff, because I worked in marketing before and I enjoyed working in marketing, but like I was antsy. I wanted to move. I wanted to make. I wanted to create. And I love that part of this job.
It's awesome.
So my favorite part of my brand story is that I have a degree in engineering. However, I love to be creative. I also love to craft. So I kind of like use left and right sides of my brain within my business. And for me, that's the favorite part of my business, is that it allows me to do that and on my own terms. So I can be that creative person that also likes to problem solve and figure out how to like do random things on a Cricut machine that maybe no one cares about, but I do. So that's my favorite part of the business itself. And inspiring to keep on would be feedback from people. That's my dopamine. I love all the comments. I do all my like YouTube comments myself because I love reading that feedback, responding to it. So that for me, like, we talked a little bit before we went live about the parts of your business you love and not outsourcing those. And that's one of those for me, is like the feedback portion. I like receiving that.
Yeah, that's the best.
It is
That
the
is
best.
totally the dopamine. I agree.
I don't think I would do this if I didn't get the feedback, right?
Yeah.
I could put all this out into the ether and with no feedback, and I'd be like, I don't want to do this. It's
agree.
only worth it
Yes.
because people are following along.
Yep, that's why I'll always say, if you like something I do, please share it, because that's really the currency that I am working with. Is your attention and your love is the thing that keeps me going. It's because after a while, there's a lot that goes into running a business, right? So there has to be a compelling reason, and that is my compelling reason.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate form of support. Just like and comment on the video, and that's it. That's all you have to do to support me.
Or if you're buying from a small business, leave a review.
Yeah,
leave feedback. All of these things. Like, I mean, if it's dopamine to us, it's dopamine to every small business that you buy from. Like, you buy something on Etsy, go leave a review, right? Like, just make sure that people know, because honestly, is there anything better than looking down and seeing you've got a comment and it's somebody that you've helped or they've been inspired or whatever it is? I'm like, all right, that's enough go juice to keep me going. Keep me going on this journey.
All right. Do you ladies ever feel like you just want to take a huge break from everything? Vacations, just breathe? I thought this was appropriate. Because the answer is yes. I would say for every small business owner, this is probably one of the toughest things, is boundaries and taking time for yourself. You tend to just take it all on yourself, work all the time. The work is always in front of you, because often the work is in your house in the beginning. So it's right there in front of you. It's very easy to pick up your laptop, work it way into the late hours of the night, been there, done that. So yes, taking breaks, I have found I have needed to prioritize over the past, especially like 2 to 3 years, prioritizing those over everything else. And for me, and I'm just going to say this, probably for you as well, taking a break often makes me more productive when I come back. It gives me back the inspiration and the drive to do this. So taking a break is often the best thing I could do for myself as well as my business.
I agree. So when I was in the early years of my business, I really worked on it all the time, like really. And I am a pretty driven person. So all the time really means all the time with me. And that's not healthy. So as I've been going along this adventure, I have had to like really say, okay, no, I have to take a break, or I have a mandatory day off every week that I wasn't taking before. That might sound funny, but I now take Sundays off. So you shouldn't be seeing me online on Sunday or anything like that. I'm supposed to stay away from social media and everything, to like unplug and decompress, because it's so important to prioritize this. And yes, there are some days I'm like, this is a lot of work. Like, is this still what I want to do? I will be honest about that. And so far, I've always said yes, but sometimes there's but I think I need a little break, So like this weekend, we're going to a gaming convention, because I told you I'm a I'm a big nerd. So we're going to the Origins Gaming Convention. And we're going to be gone for 2 days, and I'm really looking forward to it. And it will be like I will be away from work, and it's awesome. And I am prioritizing that. And that's how I managed to do this.
Yeah, I took a vacation. It was in 2021. We took a vacation to Yellowstone with my family, and I decided I wasn't going to work for 12 days, which to me was just an unreal amount of time to not work. And I did have an employee at that point, so that made it helpful because I could have somebody, relying on. I checked in once just to make sure, but it took a lot of planning and a lot of, like the stress leading up to it was more than normal. But I do feel like now, I think one of the things you do the farther you get along in your business, and I think both Angie and Jennifer would agree, is you start to be able to work ahead. Now, are you going to be ahead on everything? No. But am I going to have content that I can put out? At this point, yes. Am I going to have new products? Yes, because they're all road mapped out in my business. When I first started, it was, what am I going to do today? What's most pressing? And now it's like, okay, I can breathe because I've worked to get a little bit ahead.
Yeah, that's a big deal. So we have recorded videos that we will put out in December already. So we have our whole year mapped out, but it took time to get to that point. That's not something that you just instantly have. It's taken years. So, but yeah, it's good. It's good to work towards that. Absolutely.
I'm now videoing for August, which I feel like, it's not that much, but I'm like, all right, we got this.
It's not Jennifer Maker ahead yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there, Jennifer.
Well, as you have a team, you'll find that the cooperation required, the needs go up a lot. So you can't just wing it anymore. Like I love to wing things. You now have to learn to cooperate with a team. So we are further ahead than I probably would be on my own. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I think that's very true. And I think somebody just starting out, it's a little harder to, we all started out. We all know what it's like to hustle and feel like you're not getting enough sleep and all of these things because we've all done them too. We're just farther along the journey.
So I'm going to pull a couple more questions. And what I wanted to say was there's probably way more than we can answer. If you have questions for Cori and I, in the description below the YouTube video, we have a link to a form, and you can always ask us questions there. And we do like periodic episodes. But I have a couple more that I think are pretty relevant. Did you have many friends or family that supported you with your ideas in the beginning? And do you think it's important to have this to keep persevering to reach your dreams? Persevering, sorry.
I don't think everybody has this. So I do not want to say that it's important to do. No, I have done, when I first started this, it was kind of in secret. I kind of did it on the side without I put out the blog, and everyone in the online world, not everyone, sorry, let me back that up. The few people that came to my blog in the beginning knew, but I was pretty quiet about it. I didn't really talk about it a lot. And so I didn't also, as a result, have that support. I definitely did have support, but I don't think you have to have it, because sometimes our ideas, they're not necessarily things that other people will understand. Sometimes our dreams are unusual. It's outside of what is normal or typical, and you might not have that support, but you can still do it even if you don't have it. And the cool thing is that as you gain confidence in what you do, you can then bring people into it on your own terms, and you might find that you do have the support after all. I do, however, have amazing support. Greg is like everything to me. So yeah.
I think I've done both. So I do have a very strong support system in that my husband is like, yeah, let's do this. However, we moved from California to Washington in 2020, 0 stars. And we moved up here knowing basically no one. And at that point, my husband quit his full-time job so that hey, let's make stuff would be the thing. And we decided to homeschool our kids. And it was a pandemic year. And that year we had no outside help. I had one employee, and it was really difficult, even with the most supportive spouse, just not having a community around me, not having all of my friends were in California or online, right? Not having people near me to celebrate. I do feel like that first year was particularly difficult. After that, my parents moved here, And things got immeasurably easier because I had another set of people to watch my kids. And that is such a privilege that I do not know a lot of people or I know that a lot of people do not have that. And I didn't have it for that year. And it was really difficult, even with a husband who wasn't working, who was mostly doing all the kid stuff. And he's a fantastic dad, and he does all their homeschooling and everything. But still, like the support system, my support system had the kind of like, legs knocked out from under it when we moved. And I've been growing it back, but I do think that it's possible, but I know from experience that it is definitely more stressful.
Yeah, I'll just echo that as a privilege, but I will also say that this business, whether you start a craft business selling your stuff, you're online like we are, it can be very isolating. You are by yourself. You don't have a lot of friends that understand what you do, understand the industry. So building a support system is often something I suggest to people, is finding other people that kind of do what you do, like Cori, Jennifer, and me. But anyway, that finding people that do what you do, connecting with them. Competition, your greatest competition is probably the person that's going to understand you the most and be that ear when you need it, because it is very isolating. Can be hard to like communicate that even to a spouse that is very active with things. They still don't understand what you do day to day. So just building that support system, I just wanted to add that in there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember basically the three of us became friends because I don't remember how we started talking, but we started talking about this and how isolating and how we don't really have people to talk to. So maybe we should just get together and talk. And we did get together and talk. And this has been really valuable. So you can create your own support system for sure.
Yes,
definitely.
All right. So I'm going to use this one as a promo thing. It says, how long does it take you to make a project? Can you show us behind the scenes? Because when you make your videos, it's very quick and easy. So I just wanted to promo that in 2 weeks, Cori and I are doing an episode. We're doing it on July 3rd, actually, but we're doing an episode of a day in the life. So we are going to kind of talk about this, of like what our day-to-day looks like and how that translates into a business. So I just wanted to pull that up to do that. But if you have like quick advice, Jennifer, on how long exactly it takes you?
Oh my goodness. Do you guys, well, you don't want to know. Okay. I have a question about what you're doing. Is it like, are you going to spend all day and you're going to be on video and showing stuff? Like, I'm really curious about this thing you're going to do. Tell us about it.
So I think we're just going to do it like podcast style, and we're just going to talk about a day in the life. And we're going to do it like now, a day in the life, as well as when we started out, because those are two very different things, right?
Yeah, they're totally different things. Yeah, very different from what I do now to what I did then. Yes. So, so the question is, how long does it take a new project? So for us at Jennifer Maker, and it's different. There's Jennifer and there's Jennifer Maker. So there are different things. But if you like look at the videos that we create for Jennifer Maker, those projects they can be as long as, gosh, we've had some that started over a year ago where we're researching and really finding the safe ways to make something or discarding techniques that didn't work. And others, maybe a month. So nothing shorter than that. So it actually takes a lot. And what I discovered in learning to be a teacher is that the easier you make it, on screen or in a book or whatever, the harder it is behind the scenes, right? So so if you see something that looks easy, it's probably a lot of effort behind the scenes to get there. So, but what I've discovered is that if I show all of my struggles along the way, first of all, we're talking like hours. We're talking like side trips and weird stuff. And while it's funny to like see all the failures and mistakes, it also is not helpful when you're a beginner because it's confusing and distracting and you really just need to focus on how to make something. So I don't usually. I might do a video where I talk about all of my mistakes and things that mess ups and stuff, but generally my tutorials are a lot of work behind the scenes to get them clear and easy to follow.
So I have a much shorter process, and I know my process is different than Angie's, so I'll go through mine really quickly. So I don't have a huge team. I've got 3 people and 2 of them are all of them are part-time. So I'm aspiring, I am manifesting a slightly more Jennifer Makery team. But for right now, it's a lot on me. So for me, I spend usually a day or two, depending on what it is. Some things are really easy. Some things are much more complex. Like if I'm unboxing a brand new laser that has 8,000 parts, it's going to take me a lot longer to learn to use the machine, because I don't want to share a brand new machine with you that I have not tested a lot. And so those will take long. And what I do first is I'll write a blog post about it. I will write it all out and basically say, like, make sure I have everything I want to cover. And then I'll use that as an outline to make my video. And for me, that process works really well. It takes me, hour to film, and then I have an editor.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I like to do the video first, even if there's tons of footage of me completely messing things up and then starting over. I like to do the video first and then write the posts later. And it is just me filming. I do have a team behind the scenes for a lot of the other things, including writing the blog post. So someone does that later, but I do my own editing. So I just prefer to make the YouTube video first and edit it, because I guess because I have control over the editing process. It would probably be a nightmare for an editor to do.
Mine's less of a nightmare because I have
process.
the outline. So I have the outline and I can just like follow. If you guys watch me now on my YouTube videos, and then if you bring up the blog post, you're like, goodness, Cori, I did not need to watch you. This is a sneak peek, because it's all in the blog post. Or if you're in the blog post, you can just watch the video. They're the same thing.
But I will say at some point, I discovered there's videos I know that are easy for me to shoot, and there are videos I know that are very, very complicated. And those two have a completely different process in my mind. So the easy videos get one type of process, and the more complicated videos get another. And I block out time. Like I have a schedule. I like scheduling. I like blocking my time out. And I block out a lot more time for a more complicated video. So it really depends on the video, on the topic. And you don't know that watching my YouTube channel, but sometimes it's stacked with easy videos because Angie needs time off. So I stack my schedule with easy videos. I can do all those, get ahead, take a time period off, come back, do some more complicated videos. I mean, of course, forward facing, you just see it that a video goes up every Tuesday and Thursday. I don't even know my own schedule right now. Every Tuesday and Thursday, that's what you see. But behind the scenes, I can kind of manipulate it where I can stack the easy videos and get ahead, a little bit further ahead. Not Jennifer Maker ahead, but a little further ahead.
In my defense, I wouldn't be that far ahead, but we have a team. So, and it's really interesting the way that a team, more people working together, you get really dialed in on your processes, and that things that you might have just been like, oh, I kind of do it this way. And so we have a process for everything. It's all written in a Google Doc that we follow. It's almost like a TV show. I'm not even kidding you. It's there's so much that's going on. So it's kind of fascinating, actually.
I love that. Okay, so we want to cut the questions there, I think, because we are
long.
We are way over time, and you all keep asking questions, but that's okay.
And they're good questions, and they need to be answered at some point. So we will add them all to future podcasts. And yeah.
All right. So thank you, Jennifer, so much for joining us. Again, check out Jennifer Maker, her new advanced program. I have it's link.craftingcamps.com/maker. And I have that QR code if you're on YouTube, and you can scan that and check out that program. So thank you, Jennifer, for joining us. We really enjoyed chatting with you today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And I hope that everyone is following this podcast and Angie and Cori's YouTube channels, because this is so cool. And then I think that I'm really excited to listen to your podcast about a day in the life, because I think I can learn a lot from listening to you too. So thank you for doing this. It's really neat.
It has been very fun. And for those of you, we know we have a lot of new people watching today who have come from Jennifer Maker's channel. So the way this works is we are doing this part of it live, where we're chatting, we're talking, we're answering questions from the chat. After this, we're going to download the audio from the podcast. We're going to, or from the video, and we're going to turn it into a podcast. And that will come out on our podcast called Crafting for Profit Live. You can download that on any podcast network that you have. You can also go to craftingforprofitlive.com. We have a lot of information there about the podcast. So if you want to learn more, see some of our older episodes. This is episode number 10, and they're every other week. So we've been doing this now for 20 weeks, which is just insane to me because it feels like we just started it. But we're really getting into the groove. And we've had some really good episodes. Like we said, we had that episode on chronic illness. We did an episode with Crystal Summers on craft fair tips and tricks. We did one on SEO. So if you just are really wanting to use SEO in your online shop. We did that with Holly Homer. She's an expert. So we have a lot of really good content already, even though we're only 10 episodes in to the podcast. But again, if you loved this, please go review it, rate it, like the YouTube video, do all the things. We talked about this dopamine. This is all dopamine. Just give it to us. We want it all.
You can be number one crafting podcast and you can stay there.
Yes,
all
right now we're bouncing, and you guys can help us stay there by liking the podcast.
Let's get this podcast to number one.
Just number one all the time. That's what we want. That's kind of
and I think listening to a podcast is a great thing to do when you're crafting. So
Absolutely.
This is like, you can just listen to older podcasts or new ones while you're making things, or you get if you have a favorite episode that's motivational, you can listen to that over and over again, because you don't have to look at it. You can just listen to it as you're making your thing. So
if you were to get some of my raw footage, there's podcasts or audiobooks in the background of my raw footage every single time.
All the time.
Yep.
All right. We really do have to close this down because this is by far our longest podcast episode ever. So make sure you rate and review, and we will see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Yep.